Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's Carvel community meeting. It is December 14th, 2022. If you're watching this recording from home, we encourage you to come join us live. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Pacific time. It's an opportunity for you to come and join other members of the community, hear what the maintainers are working on, bring any discussion topics to the meeting, anything that you need help with when it comes to Carvel, and or you can just sit and listen in. If you are here at the meeting today and you do have a discussion item, please add that down below in the section of discussion topics here, and we'll get to it towards the end of the meeting. If you're unable to join us live for a meeting, there are other ways for you to reach out to us. We can be found in the Carvel channel in the Kubernetes Slack workspace. You can email us. You can find us in GitHub with any of our project repos, and you can find us on Twitter at Carvel_dev. If at any point you are interacting with any of members of the community or any of the maintainers, we ask that you please read and abide by our code of conduct. And if you are using any of the Carvel tools, we would like to know more details about how you are using the tools. So we've created this pinned issue, and it just asks for you to provide a few details about yourself, any organization or company you're representing, and your use cases with Carvel. Optionally, you can add your logo to the comment itself, and we can get that added to the adopters file here. For those that are attending today's meeting, just a reminder to please add your name to the attendee list here, and just helps us keep track of who's attending from outside of VMware. On to announcements. So while we do meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Pacific time, we are not meeting until January 11th, given all the holidays and everything. So we're going to have a bit of a break until next year and on January 11th. So we will see you then when we reconvene. And then for an update on us onboarding as a sandbox project for CNCF, we are still in process of doing this. One of the big things that we need to still do is migrate to the new vendor neutral GitHub organization. The team has been actively working on some other items, and so we want to make sure we get those developments kind of nailed down, and we have like a pause in what we've been working on so that the process is a little bit smoother when we migrate over. So once we do that, everything else will just kind of happen really fast, and then everything will be complete. So that's one of the biggest things. And after we do that, we're going to migrate our website and domain transfer and all that to CNCF. So just wanted to give you all an update there. We're still very much working on it, and hopefully we'll have it complete by mid-January, I'm thinking. And then on to content. So content since last meeting, we had a blog post using Q and Carvel together for your Kubernetes setup. This was written by Dimitri, and Dimitri's one of the kind of founders of Carvel, the one who started creating Carvel to begin with. So be sure to check that out. And then we have Getting Started YTT Part 2. This is a video tutorial and also has a blog post accompaniment. And then the KubeCon keynote we did for KubeCon North America in October was posted on YouTube. So it's about a 5-minute keynote, and kind of goes over Kubernetes success requires a GitOps mindset by Rupa. So be sure to check that out. And then as far as upcoming content goes, we have a few talks coming up in January that some folks from the dev advocacy team here at VMware are putting together. Once we have links and more details there, I'll be sure to share it, both on through email and Twitter and Slack. I think there's a couple of them that might happen before our next meeting. So just take a keep your eyes out on those other channels for that information. And then as far as content goes, it's not just limited to us. We would love for the community to also share things that they're working on with Carvel. So we've created this sign up sheet here on our repo. And if there's anything you wish to share, you can add the date you want it to be shared, your name, what topic you're going to be discussing, how you're going to be delivering that information. Is it a blog, a video, or you have an upcoming talk about Carvel, et cetera, please add that here. And then if you want us to promote you through Twitter, you can add your Twitter handle as well. All right, on to releases. Since our last meeting, we had kbuild 0.36. And does anybody want to talk a little bit more about that?
You want to open the release now?
Sorry, Joelle.
Do you want to open the release notes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can totally talk about this one. So we bumped some dependencies. So this is going to be like somewhat of a theme. Like on the last couple of weeks, we've been releasing a lot of, we've been bumping a lot our tools because there were some CVEs that we were trying to catch, to fix. This is one of the releases. We also created a bunch of patches for other releases, and you might have seen them coming out. And yeah, this is just like another example. This is in preparation to also release a new version of kapp-controller. So yeah, we bumped all the tools. This was one of them. So not a lot of nice new things to see here. Okay, so let's talk about the best tool in the suite. Image package. There we go. Image package. There were new things added to image package. So we also did some bumping of libraries to fix some issues and so on. But we did two things. One was that there was like every time that you run a command, there's like this one message that in the end says that it finished successfully, the command. And unfortunately, that was being pushed into to the wrong output. And there's a fix for that. That's line. Oh no, sorry, my bad. Okay. You see, that's what happens when you release things a month ago and then you don't see them again. So this fix is a little bit different. So Vic helped us out in here. And basically, when you're trying to create a bash completion, there were commands that were being added there, and that message was showing up when you're trying to create a completion for your bash or for your Zeech or something, or your fish or whatever you use. So that was causing problems. So that's one of the fix there. And describe now, it changed a little bit how the describe command works. Previously, it gathered all the information, and while it was gathering information, if there was any kind of failure, if it couldn't talk to the registry or something, it would just abort it. It wouldn't show anything, right? So from version 0.34 forward, what's going to happen is that it's going to get you all the information that it can. And if there's an error, it just displays everything that it could provide you, and also tells you like, oh, by the way, this one particular image, there was an error trying to get it. So it's making it a little bit more robust in here. I think that's it for image package.
Thanks, Joelle. Any questions or comments for Joao? Okay. Moving on to YTT 0.44 and 44.1. Anybody can?
Yeah, there in YTT as well, we have a little bit of additions by Max Brower in this release, and for like storing the replace and insert annotations via quarks as callable, and few more documenting YTT overlay inserts. So this is part of 0.44.0, and 0.44.1 is part of bumping Go library and everything for fixing CVs. That's it from YTT side.
Thank you, Varsha. Okay, secret gen controller 0.92 and 11.1, 0.11.
I think for both of these, they were just bumps to libraries for CVE fixes.
Okay, thank you, Neil. And then on to CAP 0.54.
Yeah, so CAP has like a new feature, added a new annotation called renew duration. So if a resource which is using a renew durations, and so what CAP will do, if CAP deploys run after this renew duration has been passed, that resource will get updated or reconciled by CAP. Second thing is wait check interval we have increased to 3 seconds as a performance enhancement. So it is helping to decrease the API cost been made to the server. And yeah, and then there is small contribution from Max, who is adding template rules for packaging resources like package repository, package installs, app. And one more contribution from Lewandowski, hope I'm pronouncing correct. So he for fallback, for create strategy, fallback on update on no. When we are doing in some changes summary, that operation strategy was not displayed properly earlier. So he made changes to update that operation strategy in changes summary. So thank you for Max and Lewandowski for their contribution.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you, Tanushree, for giving us those details. Any questions regarding this release? Okay, on to kapp-controller 44.1.
I think so. This one just came out yesterday. The vast majority, it's like a little bit hard to grok this release note message, but the vast majority are bumps to third-party dependencies. But I did want to call out that we have Thomas on the call, and Thomas did their first contribution to K-control dev. So thank you for that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Thomas, and thanks, Neil. So as you can see, the team's been focused on some CVEs primarily. It's been kind of a big task that they're all focused on till the end of the year. And once we complete all these tasks, that's when we're really hoping to have a bit of a lull to migrate the repos over to the new org. So if you have any questions on that, just let us know. Okay, moving on to the project roadmap. Renew, is there any updates to this project roadmap since last meeting? No, Aaron's not on the call.
I think Renu had to drop off.
Oh,
But
yep.
there are no updates as of now. We will most probably be making changes to it next week.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Praveen. Okay, moving on to the backlog. So we got CAP and K control here. Is there someone who can speak on both of those?
Yep, sure. So right now, when we, let's say, add rebase rules or anything else in CAP configuration, we use something called paths, which is mostly a list of strings, or we can also mention an array index, or we can just say all indexes, but we are trying to add a regex capability over there so that folks can just mention maybe star or something like star ABC so that they can have a list of annotations or any other fields that they want to use rebase rules or any other rules for. So that's one of the items in our agenda for the current week. And for K control, we are mostly trying to get rid of a few CVs and a few bug fixes. So one of the bug fixes is to deduplicate the logs that are getting printed while installing package installs or appcs.
All right, thank you, Praveen. Any questions for Praveen or comments? Looks like we have someone typing in for image package. I'm gonna take a wild guess as to who that is.
I
Is
don't
it
know about
Joe?
that, but maybe I can talk a little bit about that. So like we do have like two inactive development for image package. We have Alex that is providing more information to the scribe command. So we were going to have some layering information, what are layers that are part of the images and so on. So they are currently on the process of it. And Vandana is also creating another PR that there was like problem with certificates in Windows, and Go fixed the issue. And now Vandana, they are trying to put it back into our code because we had a workaround. So those are like two things that are currently being. So outside contributions, really like it.
All right, thanks, Joel. Yeah, if anybody is able to help with that, please reach out. Okay, moving on to discussion topics. Thomas, you got a couple in here. You want to let us
Yes.
take it away?
Yeah, the context of both this one and the other item is primarily the onboarding use case or the learning use case when starting to using Carvel, like learning how it works, specifically kapp-controller and working with packages, but also, I don't know, live demonstrations, workshops. And what I'm thinking here is instead of using Helm, even in the context of the tutorial, when I want to install a package, how is the consumer experience for packages? And specifically, this issue is about having the namespace created automatically when we add the repository, because right now, like the flow is I create a namespace, then I add the repository, and then I install a package. So it would be nice to have the step where I add the repository also to create the namespace for me, just to skip one step to make more streamlined or more like one less comment when in the context of onboarding or workshops and using kapp-controller as part of it. Yeah, that's the idea.
All right, thank you for bringing this up. Does anybody from kapp-controller have any comments on this?
Oh, I sort of have mixed feelings about it. I remember earlier we actually had something similar, or we were planning something similar for package install create, and we did not because we actually wanted the commands to be separate, like the namespace creation command to be separate. I actually don't remember what was the idea behind it, but I do remember that there were some discussions. Hopefully, Samik or Dimitri has, like they probably remember what was the reason we did not go into this direction. But yeah, I agree. This is definitely helpful. Like it reduces the number of commands that users will have to use to install a repository or a package.
Okay, thanks, Praveen. Anyone else want to chime in on this? I think
Maybe,
it's worth. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say maybe it would make sense for us to, like, if there were reasons why we didn't implement this before, or like had something around it, it would be good if whoever is in the know commented on this issue so that we can have a discussion there. So at least if we do it or we don't do it, at least there's like information that is spread out on what are the reasons for it.
Yep, makes sense. Adding a comment over there.
Yeah, I would agree, Joel. And then if anybody from the community wants to chime in as well, please review this and add your comments. And then also, as Thomas requested, you can vote on it as well. Okay, moving on to the next item.
Yeah, so it's the same context, and this comes from, for example, feedback, because I really like working with Carvel, and so I show it to people like, have you tried Carvel packages? It's so great, give it a try. And the feedback, some of the feedback is about having like the setup in a research setting. So I'm not talking about production, but maybe on the developer machine when setting this up is a few different commands to run. And usually I get it compared to Helm, where I do Helm add repo, Helm install, it's 2 commands. So I was trying to think about how to reduce the number of commands. That right now is probably 5 commands, where I also have to install kapp-controller first. So I wanted to share this idea of having perhaps k-control doing that, so that overall we might have 3 steps: k-control, cluster setup, cluster init, something that installs kapp-controller, second command to add the repository, including the namespace, and third command to install the package. That could be a meta package installing the whole platform or setup needed for a specific workshop session or experimentation. So yeah, that's the idea and the background behind that idea. I haven't created a GitHub issue. I wanted to share it here first so that I can create one later if there is some interest or it's something that can be discussed further. Yeah.
First, thank you for talking about Carvel with others and helping others learn more about Carvel. It's really appreciated. As far as the other, the topic itself, does anyone from kapp-controller or K-control have any thoughts on this?
All right, I'll go first. I think it's a great idea. I think it's one that I have also found as you get started with the whole suite with kapp-controller in particular, is that we are directing people to K-control as the, most user-friendly path, and the experience tends to be a little better there than writing lots of YAML. So I think having some sort of way to install it, or even instructions to install it, maybe if there's great opposition to automation in K-control, that would be, I think, a good step forward for the user experience.
Thanks, Neil. Any other comments? Okay. Yeah, Thomas, I think based on Neil's comments
Maybe one other comment, sorry.
Yeah,
Across you. I guess I imagine I could foresee a conversation happening around permissions and giving K-control or something, like all the permissions and how that would work to install a kapp-controller. And so I guess just as we create the issue, I imagine that will be a discussion if you want to preempt it. But if you don't, that's totally fine. Just bringing it up early.
Yeah, thank you. So should I create the GitHub issue to continue the discussion there?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that'd be a good next step. And if once you create that, if you could share it in Slack, and then I'll make sure that folks from the community can also chime in.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate your involvement, engagement with this. Okay, that's all we have listed here for discussion topics. Does anybody else have anything at all that they want to bring up before we say goodbye until next year?
One last thing. We talked about the CNCF migration, and it sounds like, a little high level from that perspective. But if anyone in the community is using any of the Carvel tools as Go modules, the URL will change. The organization is going to be changing. So that is a breaking change that is coming in the next versions. Or I guess when it happens, and then the following release after it. So it's more just of a heads up than anything actionable if you are using those, but the migration does have some breaking changes as part of it. So we will announce it in the channel a little bit, in advance, but just to give heads up in case anyone is doing that.
Thanks for that info, Neil. Can you add that into the agenda under the CNCF onboarding update?
Yep, we'll do.
Cool, thanks. Okay, anything else? No? Okay. Neil, your cat. Hi. Well, thank you everyone for joining for our last community meeting of the year. For those watching from home, we encourage you to come join us live. Again, we meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 8 a.m. Pacific time. And we will meet again on January 11th of 2023. So we hope to see you then. With that, thank you and happy holidays, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Bye.